Oh, it's a vulture? Yes, it is. That's so cool. That's why the nets are on here.
Probably helps keep the fish in too.
Yeah, they're gonna grow everything up for like, not for another million years. Ah.
They're probably just talking about you.
Yeah, they're talking shit.
Yeah, you know what they're wearing.
It's been pretty three-year-old brown trout females are going to getting put to sleep right now. Fish are easier to handle when they're knocked out like this.
So what? How does the drug knock them out?
It puts coating on their gills, so it's the less oxygen uptake. But once we put them back into fresh water, they'll come back to and start swimming around. So. Once they're knocked out good, then we see this one's not ready to give up any eggs, so we'll throw her down in that area first. Go through her next week again.
So that one was also a 3-year-old?
Yeah, that was just a little runt of a 3-year-old.
So by squeezing it, ideally the eggs should start coming out. So we throw them over there, so next week they'll come back and redo those. Because they should be ready by then.
These are 2-year-old males, this one. So we always mix our 3-year-old females with our 2-year-old males, try to prevent any kind of inbreeding, gives it a little more genetic diversity, mixing age classes like this. So the females, when they're 2 years old, they don't give eggs. They don't start developing eggs until they're 3 years old. But the males, they'll give their sperm at the age of 2, no problem. So. And the sperm from the male we call milt, M-I-L-T. Yep.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
How'd you get this job? What's the career path that leads you up here squeezing fish?
So a lot of our employees started in the field of natural resource management. A lot of biology majors, a lot of fisheries majors. University of Wisconsin, Stevens Point, University of Wisconsin River Falls.
Go Falcons.
Yeah, they have a lot of good programs, so we recruit a lot of staff from there. A lot of people just have an interest in being in protecting natural resources, and so they find their way here through other.
There's a few eggs there.
Yeah, that's what the eggs look like. But for our managers, a lot of the managers that we have working for the state, they're the ones that set the grill limits, the size limits, and that. A lot of those guys have masters nowadays. Masters degrees.
I think all the biologists now have to have it. I think that makes 15 years ago.
All right, so this fish is ready.
Here's one that's ready to go.
Here we go.
So we're
Get your cameras ready.
gonna collect a little bit of OB fluid from her, and we're gonna send that to the lab.
Yep, this goes to the lab.
And then we're gonna excrete the rest of these eggs into this bowl here.
Actually, I'm going to pass these around. I want them to get fertilized too, but if you want to take a look quick. Make sure those eggs get back there.
Yeah, so she'll look like an empty tube of toothpaste when you're done with her. She'll need a little tummy tuck. But...
So kind of by massaging her and shaking the eggs down to the oviduct, it helps excrete all the eggs out. I'm putting a little bit of pressure on her belly, but not too much. When you dunk them in the water like this, it kind of calms them down. You can feel all their muscles just kind of relax and go limp. You can really get all the eggs out that way. So that's what she looks like when she's done, and she'll fill out. And what do you say? By next week, you won't be.
Yeah, you won't be able to tell. It quickly goes back to.
So how do they get the eggs out on their own if you guys don't do it for them?
They'll use their muscles, and out in the stream they'll build a nest out of gravel. And then,
Okay, so there's the milk.
So that's the milk. That's all. You just really need just a little bit. I probably could have used a quarter of that, and that still would have been enough. And I like to just kind of stir that milk around a little bit. Then we're gonna add some water in there. And now essentially, once that water hits that egg with the sperm, it's supposed to close the micropyle on the egg. So the sperm cell should already be inside that egg. It happens so quickly. So those eggs are fertilized now.
you guys will be able to go in the building, maybe like half of you at a time or something, and mask up if you can, please.
Yep, I can do that.
I was sent here because we were going so I hate to take it around.
All right, thanks, Austin.
I can show them around.
What she's doing right now is she's rinsing that milk off the eggs, and she's trying to make that water look clear. And all that really does is make it so that the eggs don't really over-fertilize. It only takes a drop of the milk to really fertilize the eggs, and the longer the milk is in with the eggs, that's actually bad. So that's why she's clearing that out. All of these pans that you see are one male, one female, all the way up and down right now. The way that we organize it is once we start during the day, we'll write a start time. Once we end on a section, Allison will write an end time. And the reason why we do that is the eggs have to water harden for 2 hours. And that basically gives the eggs a certain amount of stability and structure, so that once we put them in our jars, which I'll find a jar. Once we put them in the jars, all we're doing is rolling those eggs, which basically gives the eggs an even amount of oxygen as they're rolling, so there's no dead spots during the process. So what you'll see is we'll put about 4 quarts of eggs in these jars. The eggs will be about to here. Water goes in the bottom, it comes out here. And all this does is it rolls the eggs real slow. Real slow. And like I said, all that does is really just give the eggs an even amount of oxygen. And
For how long are they in there?
about 32 days. And then once we're done with the eggs in the jars, they'll start to eye up. So in the little egg, you'll see 2 little black dots. Those are the eyes.
So it's still round like an egg.
It's a round egg, just like what you see there. It'll turn slightly darker, and then you'll see 2 black dots. Those are the eyes forming. We call that eye up. That's after about 32 days. Once they eye up, we'll take them from the jars. We'll put them in these heat stacks here. They'll sit in the heat stacks here. They go straight in. Once they go in, we're looking for things like fungus, and we're looking for bad eggs. All the bad eggs will turn white. Those will get picked out. Any fungus balls, those will be picked out. We do that a couple times a week. They'll sit in here for another couple weeks, and then once they're ready to go, we'll take them out of the tray, put this over to the side, and real gently and slowly we'll put them in, turn, let go, and boom, there's our fry into the tanks ready to go. Any questions so far?
You just said it's about 30 days before you can see the eye.
Correct, yep, 30 days for eye-up. Because we raise so many fish here and we have so many eggs, we're very particular on the eggs that will make it, till the final, to the eye-up. So basically, we'll take about 1 million eggs or more, and after culling them all out, we'll have about 600,000, and then after that, we'll probably have about 450,000. 50,000. And by the time that we have all our fish ready to raise and stock out in the spring, we'll probably have around 350,000.
How long before they actually hatch or they come out of the egg?
About around 20 plus days after they eye up, they'll hatch. And they'll hatch in the heat stacks. Not every hatchery in the state uses the jars. Some hatcheries, they'll take their eggs and put them right into the heat stacks. We don't do that. We think it's better if we roll them. There's less fungus. It's easier to pick out. Just things like that.
So when they first hatch, they have a...
Yeah, they have a yolk sac. So when they hatch, they actually have a yolk sac attached to the bottom. It's right underneath their pectoral fins. Just like a chicken egg, they'll absorb that yolk sac for a period of 15 to 20 days. That yolk sac will be a big yellow bulb at the bottom, right around their pectoral fins. They'll totally absorb that. Once they've absorbed that, that's our cue that they'll start rising in our tank. Once they start rising in the tank and they're not sitting all on the bottom, then we'll take starter feed. It's just a real fine crumble feed, and we'll start feeding them. They'll come to the top, they'll start hitting the top of the water, and they're ready to go.
So 30 days to ice, 20 days to hatch.
Yep.
And then another 20 days before the yolk sacs.
Yep.
So it's about 70 days before they need to eat anything.
Yeah, I call it about 2 months to be fair, give or take.
Okay.
Yep. And during the year at different times, we'll have about half of these tanks filled in here. This is just our brown trout building. We also have a brook trout building where we raise just as many brook trout as brown trout. We stock all over the state. We have trucks from southwest Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin come and pick up our fish. We do egg transfers, so some of our eggs from here will get distributed to other hatcheries around the state, and they will raise our fish for us. Yeah, you're looking at probably the biggest brook trout, brown trout producer in the whole state of Wisconsin right here.
Oh, cool.
I'll take you guys into the brook trout building. We spawned brook trout yesterday, and we'll take a look at them. I think that we got some jars rolling, so that'll be kind of cool. Because these are feral fish. A feral fish means that it's a wild fish. It means that these fish were basically the male and the female, the parents of these fish were collected in the wild. They were spawned in the wild. Those eggs were transferred here. We hatched those eggs out, and now those are these fish here. We keep the lights up because they are feral fish, so they're a little bit more skinned. So having the lights on would mean that they won't feed. So having the lights on means that they'll feed better, they'll grow better. They're a feral fish, they're not as easy to raise as domestic. We have to be a little bit more picky. All of a sudden, guys, here is that these are the heat stacks, or these are the jars that are roll of eggs. As you can see, there's a water that's in here. Water comes right at the bottom, comes out of the top. If you guys want to come in, maybe a couple, well, we can get a couple people over. But just to take turns, you can see how they're rolling at the top. And then the white ones are bad eggs. And what we'll do is we have a machine, it's called an egg picker. It has a little laser, and it can tell if it's a white or a good egg, which is that yellow orangish color. If it's a white egg, it'll spit it out one side. If it's a good egg, it'll spit it out the other. So we have an egg picker that picks all that out for us, but you can see how they're kind of rolling over the top. And the white eggs are, you see how there's some bad shells there? All that will rise to the top eventually, so that's why you roll the eggs, and they're also getting the same amount of oxygen.
Is a bad egg not fertilized? Is it mature?
You know, it could just be that it got damaged, and you know, they're real soft when they come out of the fish. That's why we have to let them water harden for 2 hours. It might have just got ruptured or punctured or damaged, and maybe it didn't get fertilized at all, and maybe it got damaged right inside the fish. No good. No good. Anyone else want to see the eggs rolling? You can kind of just see it rolling on the top or on the side here. You can see how it's kind of moving.
It looks like fluffy stuff.
Yeah, it does. It looks like a slushie at 7-Eleven. So yesterday, this was our brook trout tank, and I thought we were only going to get 7 jars, 4 quarts each. We got 9 jars. That was about 570,000 eggs in one tank yesterday.
Oh, yesterday, so,
We'll head out.
so the brook was more ready than the brown trout at the end of the day.
The brooks always go more on the first take than the browns.
Okay.
Almost always, yep.
I really want to run across this. I really want
You guys see the blue one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why is it blue?
that's a 1 in 4 million chance right there. That's a genetic mutation. It's a genetic mutation of a pigment gland. She's sterile, so she'll never produce eggs. We've had her for about 4 years now.
She's beautiful.
Beautiful.
She sparkles.
I call her Casper. She's the ghost. Stop one on accident. All these big fish will end up getting stocked in lakes. We don't usually stock them to the side. We just pay these because we need them big lakes. Most of the fish that we stock are the yearling size level. Those will go in streams and rivers, and these big drills will end up going in lakes.
How do you like stock like? We stock like the St. Croix anymore?
We do not. The St. Croix is too warm. These are cold water fish. So most of these guys, the areas that they go in, the water bubbles right out of the ground. So it's like 45 to 50 degrees, where the St. Croix can get up to 65, 70, 75 degrees. So it's not too bad.
What makes you stock?
This one is cute.
If you want to catch a bunch of trout, there's pickerel lake. So there's a bunch of rainbows. Other than that, you guys are in the
Took 4
store.
years to cut it.
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a fifth grade school too. I went to Stephen School in Central Wisconsin. I'm actually from Illinois. And I went to school there. I got the education that I needed. I knew that I wanted to work with fish somehow. I was a groundskeeper at an elementary school and middle school for a little while, and the skill set that I had, fish ponding was the best thing for me. So, it's not too bad. I'm lucky enough to where I get to work with people. So, yeah, I'm actually happy with it. Like the one hatchery that I looked at, we have 180 so I see deer and turkeys and big eagles and osprey and otters and so, it's one of those things where,
How's this one doing? See him?
Oh, yep. Is not doing well.
Maybe
Unless he's training for the backstroke.
Oh, it's swimming on its back. Big her. Where'd he go? So he's
That makes sense why the fins are so like
Let me know if it tastes like Shrek's.
Noel has an advantage because his long ass legs.
Dude, I hope no one tastes too deep.
Zach, jump!
Yeah, jump, Zach, jump.
So obviously some are perfectly round and others, like the one over here, it's that same idea of rocks just getting pushed around.
Oh yeah, you're right.
a little square.
My buddy Dylan here.